Hello, good morning. Welcome to today's show. Have you ever had some earphones on, headphones on, music's just blaring, or there's things outside just really, really loud going on? Every now and then that can cause some anxiety, can cause some stress. Personally for myself, I think that we may have a resource for this. Michael, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing so well. And I may be completely off on this, what we're talking about today, but could you tell us about what's going on with you, about your business?
Yeah, sure. So I'm founder of Syndicate of Sound Synapse. I call it an adaptive music-based neurotherapeutic platform to help reduce stress and restore brain health. I really want to focus on people with Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, maybe PTSD, but really it could help anybody.
Yeah, it's incredible. I grew up in a nursing home, and one of the most incredible things to me was just seeing how, residents would just be completely silent. They, kind of were just disorientated, but as soon as and he walks with me and he talks with me. As soon as you start singing, like it clicks, like music for Alzheimer's and dementia was like the thing that just didn't go.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it firsthand. I started my work life in dietary in the nursing home, so I really kind of understood dementia, and my grandma worked in the Alzheimer's care unit, so I've always just been around it as well. And music, not just even with just Alzheimer's, anybody, like I've never met anybody who doesn't like music. I've even met deaf people that say they love music just because they feel the beat and everything. And the way it affects the brain can really enhance brain health as far as neurotherapy. I won't bore you with the details of the neuroscience, but yeah, it can enhance what's called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is expressed when we engage in motor activity like running. So you might be familiar with the runner's high. That runner's high, BDNF, is kind of a precursor to release dopamine, serotonin, so we feel good after that. But in people with Alzheimer's and dementia who are immobile, they're not going to be moving around a lot. So music is a good alternative, and it's music therapy. Music therapy is really catching on in the world because it does no harm to the patients, and that's huge for medical, like biotech. But the thing with BDNF is that you can't measure it in without drawing blood. But you can measure cortisol, the stress hormone, and that's non-invasive. You can measure it with saliva. And you can extrapolate based on a ratio that I've discovered in the scientific literature, BDNF levels. It's not a perfect ratio, but it's a good heuristic to measure how well music therapy, especially personalized music therapy, can be utilized for patients with Alzheimer's and dementia. Awesome.
And I'm a doom scroller, and so every now and then I'm doom scrolling, and I see, if you have ADHD, stop, and I'm like, okay. And then it has this kind of a buzzing sound, I'm not sure. And I don't know if am I falling into it or not, but it sounds kind of similar.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are distracted by screens these days, for sure. And that's, I work on the computer a lot with computational neuroscience, but I kind of mitigate that by engaging in the arts, right? And that's kind of my advice to future generations is you got to find a hobby that's off of the screen too. It's great for your brain. Like, I'm a huge fan of tech and everything, but this world has us, there's screens and distractions everywhere. So, and that can really increase your cortisol and decrease your BDNF, because those two things are inversely proportional. So when one goes up, the other goes down.
Okay, awesome. And then is this going to be an app? Is it going to be actual headphone speakers? What would that look like?
My model is going to be a fee for service, and I can foresee, biotech's kind of hard because I'm in this chicken and egg scenario. I've got to gain traction to get funding, but you got to have funding to gain traction with certain things. But I'm doing what I can, but it's more I can foresee individuals like music therapists or music intervention. I'm not a music therapist, but if I team up with anybody that's a music therapist, I would welcome them. to go to like nursing facilities or, you know, behavioral programs in schools, do the, like, collect the salivary samples before and after music interventions, you know, tailor the music therapy to the patient itself, because I feel like that matters.
Yeah.
Because a certain kind of music that you like might not be a tune that I like, and vice versa. We're all different. But so doing that, and then, you know, over time seeing how that cortisol reacts, and then plugging it into my computational model on BDNF and seeing where those ratios are, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've always dreamed about having a neuroscience lab and music studio. So I'd love to have like a brick and mortar, right? And, you know, offer services like just regular recording services too on top of it. But yeah,
Awesome.
and then engage the arts and kind of remove the imaginary line between the arts and sciences. So
Yeah, awesome. Bridging the gap.
absolutely.
Awesome. Council Bluffs folks, we were just talking about bridging the gap.
Yep,
Omaha and Council
absolutely.
Bluffs, and
Yeah, it's, I always feel like you should work together, you know, instead of, you know, being at odds with one another. Like, the magic happens when we work together, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And so, being together, community, how can this community come alongside you and assist?
Yeah, like I said, anybody that's familiar with the arts, I know Omaha is great for that. So, you know, if you want to learn some neuroscience, and, you know, if you're like passionate about art and, you know, want to get some science involved, just reach out to me. If you love helping people too, especially if, you know, like, I've always wanted to make a cool business, right? So, and, you know, follow my passions, because if you don't have a business that you're passionate about, you're not going to have the perseverance to, you know, see it through when it gets hard, right? And so I want, you know, just to be immersed in the community, and if anybody, you know, if it resonates with anybody, this idea, then reach out on my LinkedIn, that sort of thing. And you know, I'm a science guy, I'm an introvert, so the networking and business side is my weak side. So if anybody can help with that, I'd welcome it too.
Awesome, awesome. I will try to introduce you to Ivan Blair.
Okay.
Ivan Blair, he works at Exchange Bank. He has some really good tips on networking. So I'm an extreme extrovert. In fact, my kiddo, Brooklyn, tells me, she's like, Mom, you are social anxiety's worst nightmare. And I'm like, okay. But even being an extrovert, Ivan really gave me some very, very useful tips.
Sure.
And I know that he's been with the Sarby Chamber, and he just kind of, that's one of his strengths. So
Yeah.
I'll try to connect you with him.
Yeah, absolutely. The entrepreneurship really has gotten me out of my shell too. Like, I'm doing a little better these days, but, you know, I'm at heart, I'm always an introvert. Like, you know, always locked in my room doing science or music, something like that. So
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So you said the nursing home, that's kind of where some of this came from. Is there anything else that inspired this movement?
yeah, I also substitute teach in Iowa, and I love doing the art programs and the behavioral kids just from a neuroscience perspective, because I can understand behavior, and I really resonate with those kids. And I'll bring my guitar into the classrooms, and just having something to focus on that isn't a screen or anything is, you can see the power of music between, you know, the kids listening to it in class, and, you know, it enhances learning. And then, like I said, I did hospice too, and I physically saw people on their deathbed when I take my guitar, play, you know, a calming tune or something, and they're not as fidgety, agitated, anything like that. And so,
Yeah, my brother just had a baby. She's doing great now, but the very first day she was born, she had to be flown up here to the NICU, and it was kind of chaotic up there.
Yeah.
But one of the things that really stood out to me was the strums. Dun, 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 dun. Like, you could just hear it from all the rooms, and it was very much that therapy piece.
Absolutely, and it even goes further with music. There's certain frequencies that are more helpful, like delta waves is like a deep relaxation, and that's kind of the goal where I want to get with Syndicate of Sound Synapse. I foresee, you know, the music intervention, you know, taking the salivary cortisol samples, but then also, you know, having like the EEG machine, you know, that cap, it's not harmful. It looks funny, but
Sure.
But then you can see the brain waves, and if they're in that delta way, then you know that the patient is relaxed and
Oh, awesome.
yeah, calming.
So beneficial, especially for people that cannot communicate that, hey, this feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, that would be very, very valuable to have.
I hope so.
What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about being an entrepreneur? Maybe they're high school, middle school, considering. What advice would you give them?
I think about when I decided to be an entrepreneur 10 years ago, and you got to be passionate about it. You got to have your why. But what I think, especially these days, is that there is a side of entrepreneurship that is not glamorous, and you're gonna struggle, and you're going to be tested. And I found that entrepreneurship is more of an inward journey rather than an outward one, because building a business is one thing, but becoming the person to get to the point where you can build that business or operate it, that's a whole nother phenomenon. And the best fight you're ever going to have is with yourself. And don't let social media dupe you into thinking that the entrepreneurial lifestyle is, flashing wads of cash and being in like a jet plane. You don't know the story behind those images. And it separates people who really want to start a business from people who just want to make money. And if you're just in it to make money, you're not doing entrepreneurship the right way.
Yeah. And that's so true, just kind of about social media as a whole, is that's exactly it. You see the highlight reels, and it's like that iceberg, like you don't see, all you see is this much, not all of the work that led up to that.
Absolutely.
Is there so music, I'm sure you don't have one, I'm sure there's probably tons, but if you had a walkout song, what's your go-to?
Oh man, it depends on my mood of the day, but let's see here. One that came to mind just right now, it's I like my European music. I like the heavier music. I mean, I like anything, right? But Arcturus Kinetic, it's just, that has keyboards in it. It's very like, guitar, that kind of thing. They're a Norwegian experimental band, so it's music that not in the mainstream, right?
Okay.
So I'm pretty outside of it. But then I like Beethoven's Seventh Symphony, Allegretto.
Okay.
So I'm all over the place. It's hard to pick one, for sure.
Yeah, I won't even be able to think of it, but my husband, he also listens to that same type of, lots of fun. And there's it seems like it's like dragons or something, and I don't know. It's fun to listen to.
Sure, sure.
Kind of reminds me of like a Sonic, background, like with the video games, it's in the background.
Absolutely. And see, that's the thing, my kind of music is different from somebody else's kind of music. That kind of stuff relaxes me. It might agitate somebody else, right? So that's why the personalized therapy or music therapy is so important, because we're all different, right?
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Is there someone that you'd like to give a shout out to, or someone that's come alongside you recently that you just want to give a thank you to?
There's been so many people I want to give my thanks to. First and foremost, my family. They've dealt with this lifestyle. I bet it hasn't been easy dealing with what I want to do, chasing my dreams over time, but they've been a great support. Everybody that's been a part of my life, really, because even just the little interactions that we have, you never know what will inspire somebody on one conversation, or you might made somebody's day just by saying hi. And I studied chaos theory as part of my neuroscience degree, and it's all about systems being sensitive to initial conditions. So how you start off talking with somebody is going to affect, it's that butterfly effect, right? You never know what that butterfly's flap of wings is going to cause an effect throughout time. So
that's great. That is so good. In my Monday through Friday job, I help develop and coach and teach a bit, and that's exactly it. It's that initial conversation. I'm like, they just got to start there, and it has to be the right tone, and it has to be the right projection. So
you have to set the precedent.
Yeah, very cool. Is there anything coming up? I know Rev was just a few weeks back. Is there anything else on your radar coming up that we should keep an eye out for?
Not really. I'm back to doing my computational model. It was a busy 2 weeks doing this, and then doing Rev, and I was signed up for healthcare lightning rounds through InMotion Generator.
Okay.
But doing all this stuff, it's basically just, winter time's kind of slowing down, like, the business quarter's ending. So right now I'm getting back into the science and just getting into what I'm passionate about, right? So building my model. I've got an idea for another business after I'm doing this one. It's still neuroscience based too, but yeah. So there's a thing with creativity that when a person finishes a project, if they don't have another project lined up and they're not immersed into it, then usually a lot of creative people get kind of depressed because they're not working on another project. And to mitigate that, you start on another project before you finish that one, get immersed into it, go finish that first one, and then come back to it. So I'm trying to do that with entrepreneurship too, to keep my mental health on
par.
On par.
Makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I'll have to also try and introduce you to Jenna Smith with the Commonwealth. It's a incubator type thing. They really help position people. So
excellent. Yeah. I appreciate it.
So they just keep hanging around, and just like you said, I overheard someone getting ready to interview talk about neuroscience as well. So you're exactly right. Like, I personally believe that the Lord, He just opens up doors and puts people in your path, and so.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's kind of. I love Carl Jung. It's kind of like he's a hero of mine because he developed a therapy, and so he's all about integration and everything. There's a lot of synchronicity, and when you're in alignment with your true self, then all of these little things start showing up in life. So.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to chat about we didn't quite get to today?
No, I think we covered it. I just want to say thank you.
Sure. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
There's lots of stories, and we just don't get to hear them.
Yeah, absolutely. So. You never know. It's always cool to learn from somebody. Yeah. You never know.
I learn something in every episode.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to be a guest on the Entrepreneurial Stories, click the link below. Direct message Glenn or myself. If you'd like to sponsor, we'd love to have you as well. Thanks so much for joining, and goodbye for now.